Have you ever found yourself, or maybe someone you deeply care about, pulling away right when things start getting seriously deep? It is a heartbreaking and honestly incredibly common pattern. Today, in this explainer, we are unpacking a really profound paradox. We are looking at why people want love, but are afraid to commit. Okay, let us dive right into this, because what we see on the surface is rarely the whole story.
I want to start off with a thought that really captures what we are exploring today. Some people are not afraid of love because they hate commitment. They are afraid because love once cost them too much. You see, many people are not rejecting love at all. They are simply protecting themselves from pain. When someone tells you they are just not ready, it is so often an echo of a past heartbreak, a past betrayal, or an emotional disappointment that quite literally cost them their peace. Welcome back to Marriage Insight, a place where we talk honestly about love, marriage, dating, truth, wisdom, and the real matters of the heart. If you care about building healthier relationships, preparing wisely for marriage, and understanding love with maturity, please subscribe to Marriage Insight and follow this channel for more insightful marital and relationship matters. Because by looking at this information together, we can start to build a much stronger foundation for true connection.
Let us talk about protecting the wounded heart. Fear of commitment is rarely about just being selfish. Take, for example, someone who grows up watching a parent walk out, leaving their family in total emotional and financial ruin. For that person, marriage does not look like a safe harbor. It looks like a place where love becomes pain. They aren't avoiding a relationship. They're just trying to protect themselves from repeating a devastating family story. And this fear makes sense when you look at the numbers. According to Pew Research, over 1.8 million Americans divorced in 2023 alone. Plus, a full third of Americans who have ever been married have experienced divorce. When you grow up witnessing broken homes, painful separations, and the bitter fallout of failed marriages, the prospect of long-term commitment can feel absolutely terrifying. People aren't necessarily afraid of the wedding day itself. They are deeply afraid of what marriage could become if it fails.
All of this historical trauma feeds right into what researchers call the modern communication gap. Today's dating landscape is incredibly complex. People are dealing with massive dating app burnout. They are tired. They have talked to so many people, they have been disappointed time and time again, and now even just starting a new conversation feels incredibly heavy. They deeply want intimacy, but they avoid the very steps required to actually create it.
The data actually backs this up beautifully. A recent report by Hinge found that a staggering 84% of Gen Z daters deeply crave emotional connection. They really want to find new ways to build deeper bonds. But here is the paradox. They are 36% more hesitant than older generations to actually begin a deep conversation on a first date. They desperately want the destination, but the journey just feels way too emotionally risky.
So what is actually stopping us? The Hinge research identified a few major hurdles to connection. First up is the question deficit. People just aren't asking enough meaningful questions because they are afraid of prying or making things awkward. But more importantly, there is the vulnerability hangover. Over 50% of daters say they have felt ashamed or overly exposed after being emotionally vulnerable. You know that feeling. You open up, and the next day you second-guess every single word you said. It is a massive barrier to true connection.
Beyond all that emotional vulnerability, practical pressures play a massive role, specifically the fear of failure and finances. For many people, commitment isn't just an emotional milestone, it is a financial one. Think about someone avoiding marriage conversations, not because they do not love their partner, but because their income is unstable. They might feel deeply ashamed that they cannot provide the perfect life they believe society expects of them.
And this leads to a really dangerous dynamic: the pressure of looking financially stable versus being financially honest. Studies show that a significant portion of young daters will actually exaggerate their income, overspend, or even go into debt just to impress a partner. But pretending to be stable builds a relationship on an image, not on depth. Silence and fear end up hurting the relationship far more than actual financial struggles ever would. True trust is built in the messy honesty of real life. Now, let us explore a very common internal conflict: vulnerability and false independence. Real love requires absolute honesty, openness, and the willingness to be truly seen. But look, if you have been hurt before, or if you lost your identity in a past controlling relationship, opening up feels like handing someone a weapon and hoping they do not destroy you with it. To protect themselves, many people swing to the absolute opposite extreme. This results in something called false independence. This is using self-reliance as a mask to avoid deep emotional connection. Independence is a wonderful, healthy trait, for sure. But when someone uses extreme independence as a fortress to block every deep connection, it is often just fear wearing the mask of strength. They might say, "I just need space." But what they really mean is, "I am terrified of letting you have any power over my happiness."
The core truth we have to remember is that healthy commitment makes two people grow, not disappear. If you are listening to this and you are afraid of losing your identity, your purpose, or your peace, please hear this. A healthy relationship does not erase your voice. Real love should be an environment where two individuals thrive and build something beautiful together without losing who they are at their core.
But we also need to be perfectly balanced in this explainer. Not all fear of commitment is rooted in innocent, tragic trauma. Sometimes people just want the benefits without the responsibility. Consider someone who loves going out, having fun, and enjoying a partner's company. But whenever the future comes up, they say, "Let us just enjoy what we have." They want companionship without accountability. They want love without the sacrifice.
This brings up a critical distinction you must make in your own relationships. You have to know the difference between healing from past pain and simply wasting someone's time. There is a vast difference between someone who is actively doing the work to heal their wounds and someone who is just keeping you in a holding pattern. Affection without direction is just a waste of your valuable time. Do not confuse someone who is postponing responsibilities with someone who is genuinely preparing for a future. So, how do we actually fix this? How do we move from fear to healthy love? Well, it requires a real transition toward healing and true wisdom. Healing is an absolute necessity before a healthy commitment can thrive. If your past pain is sitting in the driver's seat of your present life, you will inevitably self-sabotage a good thing. Here are the practical, actionable steps to overcome these deep-seated fears. First, be radically honest about your fear. Name it. Second, and this is huge, stop punishing a new person for old wounds. Do not make today's partner pay the debt of yesterday's ex. Third, ask serious questions early to cut through that communication gap. Discuss values, money, and expectations before you get too attached. And fourth, work on emotional maturity. Seek counseling or wise guidance if past pain is controlling your present. And choose wisdom instead of fear. If you are a person of faith, pray for that wisdom. I want to leave you with this powerful ancient wisdom from Proverbs. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Guarding your heart does not mean building a massive brick wall of fear to keep everyone out. That is just isolation. True diligence means guarding your heart with wisdom. It means observing carefully, communicating honestly, and having the courage to trust again when you find someone worthy. So ask yourself, are your walls built out of wisdom, or are they just built out of fear? Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and until next time, keep seeking insight.